Hi, my name is Robert and I'm the warranty specialist here at EZ Pro.
I'm Sal Adams. I do technical support and special quotes here at EZ Pro.
Today we're talking about common issues with your aeration systems.
So what we've got in this bad boy right here, it's an SRC 50 SS compressor. It's got the Sound Shield technology on it. You hear that? You don't, because these bad guys are real quiet. This right here is our PA65 ADLD system, and we're going to be walking you through some issues that you might encounter with them.
So within our PA65 ADLD, we've got a couple things that help us troubleshoot. One's going to be the pressure gauge here, and the other is going to be these handy dandy valves.
Hey Robert, so I've got myself an SRC 50 compressor. Can you tell me why the pressure relief valve keeps blowing off and I'm not getting any bubbles to my diffuser?
Yeah, so what's probably happening is, by our simulation here, you can tell that there's something clogging the lines and the air is not getting to the diffuser. So the SRC 50 is running, the valves are open, but no air is getting out. You can see that by the pressure gauge, the pressure relief valve kicking off here. There's obviously something blocking the lines.
All right, Bob, so I've got an SRC compressor here. Everything seems to be running fine. It sounds right. It's not moaning and groaning or anything, but I'm not getting any bubbles out in the water. What's going on?
Yeah, so a lot of times if your compressor is running fine and you're not getting bubbles to the diffuser in the pond, you need a rebuild kit.
Okay.
It's either that or you've got air escaping somewhere in the lines. So you can tell that by closing these valves. You close the valves and you've got enough pressure, which clearly we do. The compressor does not need a rebuild because it's making plenty of compression.
But what do I do if my compressor is humming? Just a light hum, it's not running normally, and I'm not getting any bubbles at all whatsoever.
Yeah, so that's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be a bad start capacitor here, or it's going to be bad bearings. And I have already removed the black plastic fan guard here, but you would normally take that off. Try and spin this fan. On this one, I can see the fan doesn't spin, so it's bad bearings. If this fan were to spin and rotate freely, you would need a new capacitor.
So Robert, can you tell me why a capacitor on one of these units might fail?
Yeah, it's a good question. A capacitor on a compressor might fail if there's been a power surge and the compressor isn't plugged into a GFI outlet.
You know, it makes a lot of sense. I seem to send you a lot more calls when there's been a big storm in an area, or there's been a big power surge, things like that happen. Is that, I mean, I guess, does that kind of, should that tell me something when there's been a big event?
Yeah, it absolutely, that makes total sense, because that is actually the capacitor's job, is to fail before the compressor.
Tell me, Robert, as an owner of one of these here, how do I do a better job of maintaining it? Are there any tips or tricks that you have to help a common person figure out how to be a better owner of this unit?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a few tips for maintenance. One comes from inside the cabinet. You're going to want to make sure that that cooling fan is running and pushing air out of the cabinet to keep the compressor cool. Second tip I've got is there's a filter on these compressors, and you're going to want to change those every 3 to 6 months. And I recommend a rebuild every 1.5 to 2 years.
Robert, I have a shed down by my pond. I want to have one of these systems. Is the cabinet a requirement? I'd really like to just have the unit in the shed without the cabinet.
Absolutely, yeah. The cabinet is not a requirement. The compressor does need to be protected from the elements. And ideally, you're also going to want it well ventilated and have a cooling fan on it.
We sell a lot of these deluxe systems to customers. Sometimes what we run into is, you know, your closest power source might be 50, it might be 100 feet away from the water's edge. What we wind up doing there is we wind up setting up a remote manifold system. We bury a manifold in the line near the water, but the compressor's pretty far away. Is there any issues that you think we might run into using a setup like that?
Yeah, there's one common issue that we see when there are remote manifolds present. If in the air line leading down to the pond there is a sharp turn or a dip, or it goes down real sharp, you'll see maybe some freezing in the lines.
So most of what we've talked about here so far has been our rocking piston compressors, specifically the 1/2 horsepower, the SRC50. We have other options available. My question to you, a lot of times when a customer has a shallower pond, we'll steer them towards an RV, rotary vane compressor. We have those in several different sizes as well. Are the same problems or potential problems applicable for, first of all, the other size rocking piston compressors, but also those rotary vanes?
Yeah, absolutely. The same troubleshooting applies to all of our rotary vane compressors and all of our SRC compressors.
All right, so what we have here is one of our KLC series compressors. This is a KLC 80. It's one of our linear diaphragm compressors. We sell a lot of these guys in our shallow aeration kits. Robert, is there anything about these ones in particular in the whole KLC series that you've got any tips, tricks, maintenance, things that you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Sal said, these are diaphragm compressors. So with the SRC and the rotary vane compressors, there's a lot of troubleshooting that can be done. With these guys, not a whole lot can be done. If the compressor is running and you're not pushing out, ample air, you're going to need a diaphragm replacement kit.
So I spend most of my time more geared towards lake and pond aeration, oftentimes bigger ones. I actually don't have a lot of experience with one of these. What can you tell me about these?
Yeah, so these are our CAS line of compressors. Like the KLC, they are also diaphragm compressors. A lot of times we see these used in koi ponds or aquariums or even small fish tanks.
So I heard you mention that these are a diaphragm compressor, similar to the other ones that we've talked about with the RV and the KLC line. Does that mean that you might have to replace some diaphragm?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the KLC, really the only troubleshooting you're going to need is if the compressor's running and it's not pushing as much air as it's supposed to be, you're going to want to replace the diaphragm. The other thing you're going to want to look out for is maybe a kink in the line or a backwards installed check valve.
Dude, I thought we were supposed to listen now.
Yeah, I'm deaf in my right ear. I can barely hear it. It actually is running. Sorry.